So you're gearing up for the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test, or ASVAB, and you're probably wondering one big question. What is a good score? How high did you actually need to score to get into the military? What about getting the job you really want? And maybe even more important, how do you actually get that score? Don't worry, you're not the only one asking this. Welcome to the U.S. Military Test Prep channel by Study.com. My name is Matt, and I'm a U.S. Army vet and an ASVAB test prep expert. Today, we're breaking it all down. I'm going to explain what the ASVAB scores actually mean, what numbers you should be aiming for, and how to raise your score if you're not quite there yet. We're going to talk strategy, tips, and a few key things that most people miss. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so let's start with the basics. The ASVAB is a test that you take to qualify for military service. It's used by all the branches: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. But here's what surprises a lot of people. The ASVAB isn't just one score. It's actually made up of multiple different subtests, and each one measures a different skill area. There are 10 subtests in total, covering topics like arithmetic reasoning, word knowledge, mathematics knowledge, paragraph comprehension, electronics, mechanics, automotive and shop information, and general science. When you finish the test, you get scores for each one of those areas. But the score that really determines whether or not you can enlist is called your AFQT score. That stands for Armed Forces Qualification Test. It's a percentile score based on just 4 subtests: arithmetic reasoning, word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, and math knowledge. That AFQT score is what recruiters are looking for when they say you need at least this to enlist. So while all your subtest scores matter, especially for the jobs, the AFQT is the gatekeeper. If your AFQT score isn't high enough, you can't enlist. Okay, so now you know what the AFQT is, but what does that score actually mean? Your AFQT score is a percentile ranking between 1 and 99. It shows how you did compared to a nationally representative sample of test takers. So if you score a 60, that means you did better than 60% of other people who took the test. The minimum score to enlist depends on the branch. Some branches accept lower scores, some require higher ones. Generally speaking, this is the way it works. A high school diploma or GED is typically required to qualify for most military branches. The required score can vary based on which credential you actually have. If you earned a GED instead of a high school diploma, you'll need to have a minimum AFQT score of 50 for most of the branches in general. You'll need a minimum score of 31 for the Air Force, Marines, Navy, and Army. The Coast Guard requires a minimum score of 32. But here's the deal. Just meeting the minimum isn't always enough. The higher your score, the more options you unlock. Better scores mean more job choices, more advanced training opportunities, and a better chance at bonuses or quicker promotions down the line. A low score might still get you in the door, but it can limit your career path right from the start. That's why it matters. Your ASVAB score isn't just a number. It's a key that opens up the kind of military future that you want. What's considered a good score really depends on you, your goals, your branch, your dream job. Now that you've got a sense of how ASVAB scoring works and why it matters, let's zoom in on some of the details that people don't always talk about, but definitely should. First, you might have heard the term line scores tossed around. These are different from your AFQT scores and are super important if you have a specific job in mind. Each military job has its own required line scores, which are based on a combination of the subtests. So 2 people could get the same AFQT score, but one only might qualify for a job like aviation mechanic or cybersecurity specialist, depending on how they did in sections like general science or electronics. Let's take a closer look at the requirements for these 2 jobs in the Army. If you want to become a 15 November Avionic mechanic, you'll need an EL score of at least 93. That's your electronics line score. It's calculated from your subtests in general science, arithmetic reasoning, mathematics knowledge, and electronics information. Basically, it shows how well you understand electronics, circuits, and technical problem solving. Now, if you're thinking about a 17 Charlie cyber operations specialist role, your scores need to be a bit higher. You'll need a GT score of 110 and an ST score of 112. GT, or General Technical, is based on word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, and arithmetic reasoning. It shows how sharp you are with reading and problem solving. ST, or Skilled Technical, includes all that plus math knowledge, general science, and electronics info. That's why just knowing your AFQT score isn't enough. If you already have a dream job in mind, take a look at its score requirements so you can target your studying even more. Another thing to keep in mind is that the ASVAB isn't just testing what you know, it's also testing how you can handle pressure. It's timed, and you only have a limited window to answer each question. That adds a layer of mental stress, especially if you're not used to standardized testing. That's why practice under time conditions is so important. You don't want the clock to throw you off on test day. And finally, don't underestimate the importance of test day readiness. It's not just about the content, it's about being in the right mindset. Get sleep the night before, eat a solid meal, and bring your confidence with you. You've studied, you've practiced, and now it's your time to show them what you've got. So what should you do right now? The first step is simple. Take a practice test. It's the only way to know where you stand and what score you're realistically working with. Once you've got that, you can build a plan that fits your timeline. Maybe you've got 30 days until test day, maybe just 2 weeks. Whatever your situation, having a strategy is way better than just crossing your fingers and hoping for a good score. Next, focus your study around the AFQT areas first. That's your ticket to enlistment. If those areas are solid, then you can branch out and work on the other subtests that relate to your desired job. Make your study sessions short and consistent. Even 20 or 30 minutes a day adds up fast. And mix it up. Watch a lesson one day, quiz yourself the next, and then try a timed practice set after that. Having a lot of different study strategies helps to keep your brain engaged and helps the material really stick. If you want a guided path with everything laid out for you, what to study, when, and how, check out Study.com's ASVAB prep course. It's built specifically for test takers like you and takes all the guesswork out of studying. Plus, it's mobile-friendly so you can squeeze in a lesson during lunch or on your commute. And finally, stay motivated. Keep your goals in mind, whether that's qualifying for a job that you've always dreamed of, starting your military career strong, or just proving to yourself that you can do it. Remind yourself of that goal every single day. It really makes a difference. A good ASVAB score really comes down to your goals. For some, it's about hitting the minimum and getting into their branch of choice. For others, it's about scoring high enough to qualify for top-tier jobs, advanced training, or enlistment bonuses. Wherever you fall on that spectrum, the key is preparation. The ASVAB isn't just a test that you want to wing. With the right tools, the right plan, and the right mindset, you can get the score that you need. And Study.com is here to help you do exactly that. From lessons and practice tests to full test simulations, our ASVAB prep course is designed to meet you where you are and get you where you want to go. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment with any questions or topics you want for us to cover in the future, and don't forget to subscribe for more U.S. military test prep content. I'll see you in the next video. You've got this.